Hi, boys and girls. This is Miss Davalos, and today we're going to learn about possessive nouns. We are in Unit 8, Week 2, Day number 3. Okay, first we're going to read our spelling words from day number 1 in sentences. The farmer planted crops in his fields. Farmer is your spelling word. One who farms is called a farmer. These are phrase readings, which is sentences. Which teacher did you have last year? Teacher is your spelling word. One who teaches is called a teacher. Number 3, the visitors bought a souvenir at the museum's gift shop. Visitor is your spelling word. One who visits is called a visitor. Number 4, the actor won an award for his terrific performance. Actor is your spelling word. One who acts is called an actor. Which writer is your favorite? Writer is your spelling word. One who writes is called a writer. My doctor prescribed 2 medicines when I got sick. Doctor is your spelling word. Now remember, the word doctor comes from the Latin word, so it's not an American word, it's not an English word, so that means it doesn't follow our rules. Number 7, Thomas Edison was a famous inventor. Inventor is your spelling word. One who invents is called an inventor. Okay, now I'm going to say some words and I'm going to ask you either to take something out and replace it with something else or just add something to the end. Listen carefully. The word is sheep. Sheep. Remove the p and replace it with a t, and the new word is sheet. The word is bat. Remove the b for a and the new word is mat. Now we're going to keep the word mat, but this time we're going to remove the t and replace it with a th, and now the new word is math. The word is spin. Remove the I and replace it with a, and now it's spun. Now I'm going to ask you, I'm going to say a word, and we're not going to remove anything. We're just going to add something to the end for the next 2 words. The word is treat. Add the ed to the end of the word, ed, and now it's treated. The word is joy. If you add the suffix full, that's at the end of the word, the new word is joyful. So, possessive nouns. What are possessive nouns? A possessive noun shows ownership. Possessives of singular nouns. It is formed by adding an apostrophe and then an S. If the word is singular and it ends in S, we still add the apostrophe S. Let's look at some samples. The ball belongs to Tom. That means that it's the we're going to use Tom as a possessive noun by adding the apostrophe S. And then what belongs to Tom? The ball. So the ball belongs to Tom. So Tom is the one that gets the apostrophe S. Now in this case, this is the office that belongs to my boss. The word boss ends with an S, and it actually ends with 2 S's. And yes, it looks kind of funny, but it's correct. So if we're talking about only one boss and it ends with an S, we still add apostrophe S. So it's my boss's office. So The office belongs to my boss. It shows possession, ownership. Okay, let's look at the sentence. The laptop that my brother bought was expensive. So who are we talking about? We're talking about my brother. What did he buy? What belongs to him? The laptop. So now I have to put my brother first, my brother, and then laptop next because I know that that belongs to him. So I know that the laptop belongs to my brother. So I'm going to make brother into a possessive noun. And how do I do that? When it's a singular, remember when it's singular, we add apostrophe S to make it a possessive. So that will be my brother's laptop. Now, what do we know about my brother's laptop? Was expensive. So now the new sentence, my brother's laptop was expensive. Okay, now we have the Apple iPhone that belongs to Emma is cool. So who's the owner of the phone? Emma. What does she own? An Apple iPhone. So now I'm going to put Emma first because I'm going to make it into a possessive noun. And what does she own? The Apple iPhone. So I know that the Apple iPhone belongs to Emma. So Emma is going to be turned into a possessive noun. So how do I do that? Emma is only one person. So it's singular. So I add apostrophe S. So now I say Emma's Apple iPhone. And what do we know about her iPhone? Is cool. So we add is cool. And we have a new sentence. Emma's Apple iPhone is cool. Hey, the dog that belongs to Noah digs holes in the garden. So whose dog is it? Noah. So Noah is the one that I'm going to make into a possessive noun. What belongs to him? The dog. So I'm going to put Noah first, and then I'm going to put dog. And I know that the dog belongs to Noah, so I'm going to make Noah into a possessive noun. How do I do that? Well, if it's only one person, one thing that I'm doing a possessive into a possessive, I mean, it belongs to Noah, I add apostrophe S, Noah's dog. Now, what about we know about Noah's dog? He digs holes in the garden. Okay, next one. The bone that belongs to the dog was buried in my garden. So we know that the bone belongs to the dog. So we're talking about the dog. Okay, what belongs to the dog? The bone. So I'm going to put the dog first and then bone next. And we know that the bone belongs to the dog. So I'm going to make the word dog into a possessive noun. Now, since it's only one dog, I add apostrophe S to make it a possessive noun. So now we have the dog's bone. And what do we know about the bone? Was buried in my garden. Okay, next one. The bike that belongs to James got stolen. Now, who are we talking about? James. What belongs to James? The bike. Now, if you see in the word James, it ends with an S. Because James is only one person, is still singular. We're still going to do the same thing. Okay, so we know that the bike belongs to James, so we're going to make James into a possessive noun. And even though it ends with an S, it's still talking about one person. We add apostrophe S. It looks kind of funny, but that is correct. So James Spike, what happened to James Spike? Got stolen. Now the new sentence is Jane's bike got stolen. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about possessive plurals. A possessive plurals, it shows ownership. It's the same as the first one, but now we're going to be talking about the plural format, more than one. So when we are doing a possessive plural noun, it is formed by adding only an apostrophe when the plural noun ends with an S. So if the plural noun, if it's more than one and it ends with an S, we just add an apostrophe at the end. However, if the plural is irregular, it doesn't end with an S, we have to do apostrophe S, just like if it was a singular. Okay, by adding both apostrophe and an S when it ends in a letter other than S. So if it's irregular, basically. Here are some examples. The thorns on the roses are sharp. Means that the thorns belong to the roses. So it's the roses, thorns are sharp. So we put the apostrophe after roses because we're talking about more than one rose. So to make it a possessive plural, we just add, and it ends with an S, so we just add the apostrophe. That's it. However, in the second sample, it says the ball that belongs to the children. Well, children is the noun that we're going to use first. And we know that the ball belongs to the children. Since the word children is irregular and it doesn't end with an S, we add apostrophe S like we do when it's a singular possessive noun. Let's do some samples. The colors on the flowers are pretty. Okay, so what are we talking about? We're talking about the flowers. What belongs to the flowers? The colors. So we're going to put the flowers, and did you see I put a capital letter because I'm starting a new sentence? And that's the beginning of the sentence. The flowers, and then we're going to put colors. So we know that the colors belong to the flowers, so we're going to make this one into a possessive noun. Now, because it does end with an S, and we know it's plural, to make it a possessive noun, we just add the apostrophe. That's it. So now, what do we know about the flower's colors? They are pretty. Look how beautiful they are. Okay. The thorns on the roses are sharp. Okay, so what are we talking about? The roses. What belongs to the roses? The thorns. So now we bring the roses first and then the thorns, and we know that the thorns belong to the roses. So we're going to make the word roses, which is a plural and it ends with an S, a possessive noun. Now, when it ends with an S and it's more than one, we just add an apostrophe. And now we say the roses' thorns. And what do we know about the roses' thorns? Are sharp. And that's my new sentence. And these are the thorns. Okay, the acorns of squirrels are buried there too. Okay, who are we talking about? The squirrels. What belongs to the squirrels? The acorns. So we're going to highlight squirrels and acorns. And we're going to bring the squirrels down and then the acorns. And we know that the acorns belong to the squirrels. And in the word squirrels, we have it ends with an S and it is plural. So it is a plural noun, but we want to make it a possessive plural. So we're going to, because it ends with an S, we just add an apostrophe and that makes it a possessive plural. Now we're going to end the sentence, are buried there too. So this is the squirrel and these are the acorns. I want to see the habitat of the penguins. Now, who do we want to see? The penguin's habitat, right? So the penguins, it's the noun that I'm going to be making into a possessive noun. And the habitat is what belongs to the penguins. So let's bring the word penguins and habitat. Now, because the habitat belongs to the penguins, and penguins, it's with an S. That means it's plural and it ends with an S. To make it a possessive noun, we're just going to add an apostrophe. Now, to finish the sentence, because we have part of it in the beginning, I'm going to add, I want to see the penguin's habitat. And that's a correct sentence. Several of the antlers belonging to the deer were broken. Now, we're talking about the deer, and what belongs to the deer? The antlers. So I'm going to put the deer and then antlers. And I know that the antlers belong to the deer. Now, the word deer, in this case, it's being used, several means more than one, so it's being used as a plural, but it's irregular. You do not add an S. So this word does not add an S. It does not have an S. So to make it a possessive plural, even though, because it doesn't have an S, we have to treat it like a singular. So we add apostrophe S, and now is the deer's antlers. And of course, now we're going to add several of the deer's antlers were broken. And these are the antlers. The ball belongs to the children in room 603. So who are we talking about? We're talking about the children. What belongs to the children? The ball. So we're going to bring children down, the children, and then ball, because the ball belongs to the children. We know that we need to show ownership. But in the word children, because it's an irregular now, it's an irregular plural. It doesn't have an S. We have to treat it like a singular. So therefore, to make it a possessive noun, we add apostrophe S. The children's ball in room 603. And that's the end of the lesson.